most wonderful time of the year.
This morning on How to Cook Everything Today, potato pancakes. Mark Bittman, our favorite food writer from the New York Times. Aren't you also our only food writer from the New York Times? That's okay. He's here to help celebrate the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah with traditional feast of latkes, better known as potato pancakes. Happy holidays. Good to see you. I love these things. The crispier, the better.
There's actually a couple things you can do to make them crispier. One is to sort of cut down on the flour, let them stay a little wet, and they spread out a little bit.
Make them a little thinner, too. They tend to crunch up a little bit.
We have some of those over there. Excuse me. These are a little cakier, a little more flour, a little more egg, but they're beautiful, too, and people like them that way also.
I was reading you say you start with starchy potatoes. Isn't that redundant?
Well, you know, so-called new potatoes, red potatoes, white waxy potatoes have much less starch in them than baking potatoes.
So what do you use, the Idahos?
Yeah, Idahos or russets, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
These have a lot of starch in them. In fact, so much that if you drain them like this, you'll often see very white, milky liquid at the bottom. It's a lot of starch.
All right, so we start with the potatoes, obviously. The other ingredients are onion. Eggs you just put in there.
I got to have a lot of onion. A little egg.
Breadcrumbs.
Or matzo meal. And if you can tell the difference, you're a better man than I.
That's matzo meal.
Okay, we'll use that.
Okay.
It's Hanukkah, after all.
Right.
And a lot of oil. You know, they call it, I don't know if you I went to Sunday school. They called it the Festival of Lights, Hanukkah. But it's really the Festival of Oil, because it was all about how the oil lamps lasted for blah, blah, blah.
You have down here neutral oil. What is neutral oil?
Well, you don't want a real strong tasting oil. You could use olive oil, but this is grapeseed. It doesn't really interfere with the flavor of the potatoes and the egg and the onions.
Now, we were watching you earlier. You were using the grater over here. You like them a little chunkier? You like the big strips as opposed to much finer?
I do. And you know, you want to use a hand grater because a little blood is a good thing.
Get a little knuckle in there for the holiday. That's good. Once you grate them and you mix this up right now, these are going to brown quickly, aren't they?
Yeah, a couple minutes on each side. In fact, these, which we started right before we aired, are probably ready to turn.
Let me flip this. And how do you then make sure that you get them brown on the outside, but you also get them cooked on the inside?
Nice, man. And the way you're doing it, and yet standing back 3 feet away.
Because I've got the suit on, right?
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Let me show you. Should we run around there? I'll show you a couple other things.
Well, first of all, how long is that going to cook?
Well, 2 minutes aside, maybe 3.
And the other thing is, because we're using a frying pan, you can only make 4 at a time. If you've got a big family coming over, what do you do to reheat them without them kind of getting soggy and mushy?
I would undercook them a little bit, put them in the oven on paper towel or aluminum foil, very low oven, but maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Really, the whole thing to me is you drive yourself crazy continually cooking while your friends are eating.
Okay, here they are, and these came out of the oven a second ago, so these are still warm. Condiments?
Condiments, sour cream or applesauce. Myself, I like sour cream.
They're the traditional things. And you did a different take on potato pancakes here. This is a vegetable version.
Well, there's a couple things here.
Another vegetable version.
Well, there are 3. These are butternut squash with corn and cilantro, zucchini with mint, and yellow squash with ginger. So you can do almost any vegetable with this. This is
potato pancake on steroids. What is
this? This is what my grandmother used to do. I love this because you can make a whole one, and you don't have to go through this, rigmarole of continually cooking and cooking. My grandmother called it a potato nick. And basically, you take the batter, you dump it into a pan, you cook it like that, and here's your results.
It's fantastic. This is really good.
Really a great time saver and an easy. These will keep for hours too. So a wedge like that, just gorgeous. Hey,
happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
It's nice to have you here. Great potato pancakes.